Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a really fundamental shift in business intelligence. We're going to get into why so many of those early, powerful data tools ended up just collecting dust, and how a pretty simple change in perspective ended up revolutionizing the entire field.
You know, for the longest time, the promise of BI felt like it was right there, but just out of reach. Companies were pouring millions of dollars into these super powerful, feature-packed tools. They had this huge dream of a data-driven revolution. But in reality, most employees just kind of shrugged. The tools were complicated, they were intimidating, and they ended up sitting on a digital shelf. So what was the big piece of the puzzle that was missing?
Well, it turns out the problem wasn't a lack of features or a lack of power. See, the early obsession was all on the tech itself. Building the most robust, powerful engine possible. But the real breakthrough, the thing that changed everything, wasn't technical at all. It was human. It came from finally shifting the focus from the software to the person who was actually using it.
And that really gets to the heart of that early mistake. The fundamental and totally flawed assumption was this: if we build it, they'll adapt. The thinking was that any user could become some kind of data wizard, as long as the tool was powerful enough. But that completely ignores how people actually think and work in the real world.
And this right here, this is the principle that changed the game. Look, success is not about forcing people to change all their habits just to fit some new piece of software. It's about designing software that slots right into their existing workflow, into how they already think. The tool has to meet the user where they are, not the other way around. It's really that simple.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you're going to meet your users where they are, first you have to understand who they even are. You have to recognize that your user base isn't just one big, single group. The very first step is to break it down.
And when you do that, a really clear pattern just pops right out. The vast majority of people in pretty much any organization, we're talking around 80%, are what we call information consumers. They aren't building complex models from scratch. They just need quick, clear answers to do their jobs. That leaves a much smaller group, about 20%, as the information producers. These are your analysts and developers who are actually creating the reports.
So let's dig into that divide a little bit. On one side, you've got the producers. Think business analysts, developers. These are the power users. They live and breathe in spreadsheets and query tools, and they're totally comfortable building reports from the ground up. But on the other side, you have the consumers, and this is almost everyone else. Executives, managers, frontline staff. They aren't building anything. They're making decisions, and they need insights delivered to them clearly, intuitively, and most importantly, fast. And boom, that is the exact problem we started with. Giving a super complex, do-it-yourself creation tool to an executive who just needs to see a single sales number is, well, it's a recipe for failure. To get that massive 80% majority on board, the whole interface had to be reimagined. It had to be designed purely for consumption, not for creation. And this is where the dashboard completely changed the landscape. It was the perfect solution. Instead of giving users an intimidating blank canvas, it offered them a guided, curated experience. For that vast majority of users, the dashboard became the new, friendly face of business intelligence.
Now, let's be really clear here. We're not just talking about a static page with a few charts on it. No way. A true BI dashboard is an interactive portal. It's customized for a specific role, so it brings the most critical information to the surface instantly, but it also provides a guided path for you to explore the details behind those numbers.
And this guided path is often structured like a pyramid. So imagine you're a manager. You start at the very top level with a simple summary. Green lights and red flags. If you see a red flag, you click on it. That takes you down to the next layer, guided analysis. Here you can start slicing the data to understand why something is off. And if you need to go even deeper, you can drill all the way down to the raw, detailed reports at the very bottom. It's this seamless journey from a high-level alert all the way down to the root cause, and you never get lost.
So it really all comes down to this. The goal was never to try and turn every single employee into a data analyst. It was to help every employee make better data-informed decisions. Real success and real adoption comes from giving people the right tool for their job, a powerful workbench for the producer, and an elegant, intuitive dashboard for the consumer.
If this deep dive into user-centric BI was helpful for you, please take a second to like this explainer, share it with your colleagues, and definitely subscribe for more insights into the ideas that are shaping business and tech.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought. The ultimate goal here is for business intelligence to become basically invisible, so seamlessly integrated into our daily apps that we just stop thinking of it as a separate tool at all. So when the insight you need is just there, right when you need it, what does that do for the speed and the quality of our decisions? Something to think about. Thanks for watching.